Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I hope everybody is doing well and staying warm and ready to have some fun tonight. I sure am. Looks like we've already got some folks assembled here, which is great to see. Big Dave, good to see you, Big Dave. Big Dave, you saved me tonight. I'll explain in a minute why. Poem, hubba bubba, buddy. There's Jeffrey Feinberg, Gary Edminster, Lunch Money, Philip. May I call you Lunch Money Philip Squared there, Philip? From Werewolf, Pennsylvania. I don't know where that is, Philip. That is one mouthful of a name, huh? Dave Stelling, been snowing since yesterday. I see Big Dave asked for snow too. Snow must be on the minds of the Daves tonight. Supposed to continue Sunday, Lake Effect, right on Lake Ontario. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it, Dave. We used to get that lake effect when I lived in Pittsburgh. Quite interesting stuff. Anyway, the snow is tapering off here. We probably got about 3 inches starting late last night and going through today. And I haven't done anything with it. I'll deal with it in the morning. It's fine. It's Saturday. Kids don't have to go to school or anything. Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Hello there, sir. Central Cal Piper, Todd Monson, Stanley Smith. Good to see you guys. Philip is fine. Okay there, Lunch Money, Philip. We shall call you Philip. Good to see you, my friend. Steph and Skip Kane, how you doing there? Is that Steph and Skip or Steph for Skip or Patrick Grant? I know I do that every time, Steph. Sorry, Patrick Grant, how you doing, buddy? Lord Hogarth and Chris Webber, fantastic. I think we are caught up. Oh, there's Backcountry Pipe. How you doing there, Mark? Great turnout. So I said Big Dave saved me tonight, and it's a ridiculous drink. Ah, there's Michael Case. Soft drink and almonds for now. Ice and little snow all going. Portland got the worst. Well, glad to hear you didn't get too hard there in your neighborhood, Michael. So this is going to sound odd, but I got some quirks, and every time I set this thing up on Friday night, I start around 7:30 to get all the software running and make sure everything's working properly. And believe it or not, because I know many times it doesn't work, but I really do try to start early and get everything going. And so I'm sitting here usually about 10 minutes to 7 is when everything is, 10 minutes to 8 rather, is when everything's settled down. So 10 minutes before the show starts. And I'm just, waiting to start things. And some nights, 20 minutes to the show, there's people in the chat room chatting. Other nights, like tonight, there's no one. And I can see the number of people that are viewing. And it was none. And when that happens, I know it's crazy, but I always think to myself, gee, what if nobody shows up tonight? What will I do? And I'm thinking that, and it's getting closer and closer to 8 o'clock, and I'm thinking, gee, maybe this will be the night. And then all of a sudden, Big Dave popped up and said, hello, everybody. So Big Dave, you saved me tonight. You brought me down off the ledge there, buddy. I wasn't really on the ledge. Let's see. I think I said hello to y'allses. So, by the way, I am enjoying the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli with Haunted Bookshop, as is the tradition here. Don't think I got to say that yet. Parikh Piper Skip, good to see you, Skip. How are you awake? I don't know how you're awake, but I'm glad you are, Skip. Good to see you, buddy. Name that pipe, Peace Pipe Man. That will never happen. If you're referring to nobody showing up, I appreciate that, buddy. But there may come a day. Doug Owen. Doug's saying I wasn't searching for people to say such things. I just was telling you about my own psychoses here. But I do appreciate that I got some loyal folks out there that don't mind showing up here on a Friday night and sharing a smoke with me. You were there for me, Big Dave, and I appreciate it, buddy. Oh, Codger Jim, it must have been worse in radio because you don't know. You just have to start talking. You don't even know if anybody's listening. That must have been tough at times. That would be tough for me. Sailor, hello. Smoking the Punch Grand Cru Pyramid with Scott's Highland Park, 1981. Very nice. And Josh Langevin from the frozen tundra of northern Vermont. How much snow did you get, Josh? We only got about 3 inches here. I'm sure you can beat that. Patrick Grant's got some Rustica and a Chacom top billiard with white stem. That sounds like a pretty pipe there, Patrick. Neuroses. You're right, Michael. It's not a psychosis. It's a neuroses. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, it's cold, Doug. It's already cold. It can't get much colder. Well, I guess it could, but furnace is going to come on because it's cold. So I apologize for the noise. Those of you that may not have heard it before, it's going to get a little noisy and my voice is going to get a little weird. It only lasts for a few minutes. Lunch Money Philip wants to know if there's any recommendations for a well-made calabash Sherlock Holmes type pipe. I don't have any, but I'm sure somebody out there will chime in. Gary Ebester got his butt kicked by Rustica. You're not alone, Gary. Quite a few folks have said that. Going down to 8 tonight in Gary's neighborhood. Oh my goodness. 10 out in northern Vermont with 6 to 8 inches of snow. That's respectable, Josh. Although for you guys, that's just something you kick out of the way on your way to the car, right? Glad you made it too, Chris, and sorry the Maynard's run was expensive, but that's what happens. Those kind of things seldom let you off cheap. Ah, thank you, Mark. The Backcountry Pipe says the furnace is my winter co-host. That's very nice. Actually, the furnace is doing something odd here. It's like wanting to start, but it hasn't yet started. Delayed furnace. Holmes says he likes his Ardor Sherlock. Bought it years ago. Sometimes Ardor puts out a calabash that looks like that. So there's something to take a look at, Philip. You are tough stock there, Steph. Yes. Yeah, freezing nights in Texas are a rarity for sure. Minus 25 in Omaha. My goodness, name that pipe. That is cold. That's Everett Young cold. Everett was teasing me this morning about my my unwillingness to go out in the backyard and take a second picture because the first picture didn't turn out well, but it was too darn cold to go back out. I told Everett that he's part polar bear. 36 below in Montana. My goodness, Todd. We don't have the Menards here, or Maynards, or whatever, however you say it, Chris, but I've heard about them. I watched enough, there we go. I watched enough machine shop videos from folks in different parts of the country that I've heard about Menards. They're always saying the tools are not great there, but yes, Philip, Ardor is a brand. I don't know much more about it than that. 74 in Arizona. Big Dave's holding out on us. Oh, Palm, you might want to delay that cigar. That's true, Skip. Eventually the sump pump will come up. Mushroom Leg, how you doing, buddy? Outside cat with an outside shelter with a heating pad. Oh, you are bleeding hearts, but I'm sure the cat appreciates it there. Zachary and Ware, good to see you, and you're right, Everett is the Burley King of Canada. Everett doesn't stand the weather has to stand him. Everett's sort of like the Chuck Norris of the Great White North, in case you didn't know that. It's a shame he's not here. He would appreciate that. Shepherd of the Forest, how you doing tonight? Smoking some Symphony. Very nice. Good to see you too. I need a beverage. And guess what's making a return appearance tonight? The Dirt Cake Imperial Stout. It went down so well last week, I thought, why not? I've got 4 of them after all. But you will not see this next week, I promise. There's a reason for that. And I did solve the mystery of the flavor. So remind me to tell you about that. For now, let's my glass is just a little too small to take the whole can, so I'll have to top it off. That is good stuff. Armchair Piper, how you doing, Ed? Good to see you tonight. Benjamin Lenzi, good to see you too. He's going to look in the cellar to find something to smoke. Well, hope you find something good. There's Kevin Doolin, good old Texas. Sumser? Okay. Big Country Briar, how you doing, Cole? All is well here, my friend. Yeah, so the dirt cake, first off, the flavor. Remember I was talking about raspberry and stuff, and I said it was sweet, and I couldn't quite place it. And, well, it turns out, and my wife explained this to me, apparently there's something called dirt cake that involves these, but this is flavored with Oreos, of all things. And that's the flavor I was getting. It's that Oreo cream filling flavor. Very strange, now that I say it out loud. And she said there's some sort of dessert that people make that they call dirt cake that they make with Oreos, and that's why it's called that. But it's really good. I mean, it's got a lot of chocolate, cocoa notes, and that very sweet. I don't know how to describe it. It's a sweet. I think it's a little bit berry, but it's definitely got like that vanilla marshmallowy edge to it. It's good stuff. I highly recommend it. Having said that, it took me about 3 days to recover from the last can I had. So, next Saturday, I'm going to the Midwestern Tool Collectors Association show, and it's a 2-hour drive, and I have to leave here at 5 a.m. to get there in time. And so next Saturday, next Friday night, I'm probably going to be taking it a little easy with the beverage. Just to make things a little bit easier on Saturday morning. So Josh has got his Savinelli tribute pipe filled with Carter Hall. Fantastic. Old school indeed. They make Oreo dirt in a flower pot with pudding and crushed Oreos, says Big Country Briar. That sounds absolutely disgusting. You know, Sailor, I would agree with you, but it tastes good. I've never been a big fan of flavored beers, but I cracked several years back when they started bringing out the chocolate peanut butter porters. There was just something about those that I really liked. And then more recently, these mango beers have just struck a note with me. I don't know why, but so yeah, I don't know if I have to turn in my man card over that, but I like them. Wives can indeed be a wealth of information, Michael. This is true. Because she spends all the time paying attention to things that I should have paid attention to. Carter Hall is the Twinkie of tobaccos. Yes, indeed, Mushroom Leg. That was Match's line. Terry Davey, hello, Goblin. How do you answer hello, Goblin? You say hello. I don't know. I don't know what goes along with goblins. Carter, all the chicks are back. Tramper Scott, hello. Oh, that went too fast for me. Work closed early due to weather. Hey, well, we're glad to have you, Scott. Shepherd of the Forest, do you find the standard insert or pipe insert works better in Zippos? I've been using both, Shepherd, and I don't see much of a difference once you learn how to use them. I started off, actually, my first Zippo had the pipe insert, and I've been able to pick up the non-insert ones and use them with no problem. Oh, Doug, that's terrible. I'm not going to repeat that, Doug. How do gremlins say? Well, that's a good question, Josh. Sounds like the start of a joke that I don't know the punchline to. Benjamin Lindsay's going to have some Warhorse plug and a nose warmer mirror. That sounds nice. Terry Davies, Costello, Searock, Lou Perry's. Enjoy. Oh, you mix it up and it looks like potting soil. Well, that's interesting, I guess. And then they put flowers in it? Ah, cool. I don't know about you West Virginia folk. Kevin, I have not tried the butane Zippo insert. There's folks that like it and folks that hate it, and I don't know. My thing is I've never had a butane lighter that I've been able to keep going for more than a year. Like they just crap out on me, so I figure why mess with a thing that you know works. I mean the fluid works. Backcountry Pipes also got some haunted bookshop at his Friday Savinelli. It's a good way to start the weekend. Ah, Doug, if you have to explain it, it's not funny anymore. I got a joke for y'all later. Remind me to tell you my blonde joke. Unless there's any blonde women watching, I won't tell it then. Phil Rivera, how you doing, Phil? Great to see you, buddy. Oh God, they put gummy worms in the Oreo mixture in Vermont. That is just disgusting, Josh. Brian Dawkins, hello, sir. Good to see you. As long as you're happy. So Josh says he's got 2 of the butane inserts and he doesn't care for them. Yeah, I've heard that from people. I've also heard people say that they love them. So it's if you're curious, I guess try one. They're not that expensive, really. It's a good point, Michael. If you do it, you want the single flame, the soft flame insert, not the torch double flame for which is a cigar thing. Gary lost the video. I hope you get it back, Gary. Because there's so much that, you know, you couldn't follow this without the video. That's self-deprecating, in case anybody was wondering. Bic lighters. I mean, the other ones that I like, Zachary, are these Medic, I think they're called. Clipper. This is a Clipper Medic. These things are essentially bulletproof and they're refillable. So I have those scattered around. I got one in the car. I've got a couple down here in the shop. They're pretty dependable and they're pretty cheap. But the Bics are good too. The Bics just aren't refillable unless you want to mess around with. They can be refilled, but it's a mess. It's a pain. Yeah, Patrick, we got similar weather here. 3 to 4 inches. And then it is going to be cold tomorrow. Yep, 20s all day. So I don't know if I made the right decision putting off the snow clearing until tomorrow morning or not. I still want to deal with it today. No, Phil, it was a P, not an F. Oh, Stagecoach is a good movie, Poem. Hope you enjoy that. There you go, Gary. Even when the Clippers broke, it still works. Not familiar with the lints, Zachary. But yeah, if they don't work for you, whatever. Brian Dawkins prefers matches. Well, there's nothing wrong with matches. I keep a couple of boxes of them scattered around too. And he had a foot of snow in his neck of the woods. Wow. Glad I only got the 3 inches, to be honest. Ah, Philip, that's a pain. I hate laundromats. Air America, Josh watched last night. I don't think I've ever seen Air America. Ah, the heat shield fell off, Gary. Gotcha. Let's see if I've got my matches here. Skip said he needs new matches. Oh gosh, where are they? I forget what they're called. There's a Swedish match. You can get them on Amazon. They're pretty cheap, and they're called. Doug, you know what I'm talking about. Is it 3 stars, 4 stars, something like that? Made in Sweden. They're fantastic matches, Skip. So if you need them, those are the ones I would recommend trying. Phil, I saw your video just before I got this going, and it looks really cool. The expansion wheel. Phil's got a new toy, a new tool, and toy. It looks a lot easier to use than the low grit. What are those fiber discs? Those things just bounce around too much on me. They're 3 star. Thank you, Kevin. You can never have enough scrubby pipe cleaner, Skip. Yes, thank you, Doug. 3 star made by Swedish Match. They're really good. I mean, I was going through a period where I was buying them at the grocery store or even getting them from cigar shops, and you go to light the thing and the darn thing would just snap in half and throw the lit half of the match across the room. So I largely stopped using matches because of that. And then I found these, and I don't use them all the time. I just keep them around as a spare, really. Um, and they work great. Ah, I see your plan there, Skip. Very clever. Oh, that does sound like a cool movie, Josh. Mel Gibson, Robert Downey Jr. smuggling heroin to finance the war. No, diamond matches, I mean, half the time they're not even full pieces of wood. I mean, it's like they were cutting off the edge of a board and only got half the thickness that they needed. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could get a range. You had a shovel. I gave up shoveling years ago. Just too much sidewalk to shovel. Furnace is acting up again. It's hinting that it might come on. It's on. Cartwright matches are also made in Sweden, says Gary. I've never seen those, Gary. Are they good? Did Couch show up? I see Patrick saying hello to Couch, but I missed him. Oh, there he is. Ilva's brain froze while she was outside. Couch, I don't know if Ilva's anything like my dog Isabel, but Isabel, for some reason, goes out and lays in the snow and just seems to be happy. And I'm like, you crazy dog. It was 8 degrees last night. She's out there just laying in the, on her, like, upright, not on her back. Just looking around, watching the world go by, snow falling. Dogs are crazy sometimes. Oh my, that's quite a mouthful there, Doug. So it's also made by Swedish Match. It's a 3-inch available from Danish Pipe Shop, but I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Oh, what the heck? Tordenskjold. Gotta be something like that, right? Phil uses tiki torches. Well, that'll do you. They never break, and you rarely have to refill them, right? Ilva loves the snow. You ever throw a snowball and watch Ilva try to find it? That's one of my favorite things to do with dogs. They look for that thing. Well, Mushroom Leg, we're getting several options here. I mean, I think the 3-star are really good. Gary mentioned Cartwright. He says they're okay. And Doug just mentioned the unpronounceable Tordenskjold. It's also the name of a Dan Tobacco blend. Okay. Thick, sturdy, and a bit longer than 3-star. So, in terms of easy to get Mushroom Leg, Amazon sells the 3-star, and I'd try those out first, see if they impress you, and then maybe some of these other ones you can hunt down. It does sound like a black metal album, yes. Well, folks, I think we are done with our initial run here of Haunted Bookshelf. And as you know, if you tuned in last week, we're doing the Tobacco of the Week, but we're not voting on it because we voted last week on the 3 blends that my buddy Phil Rivera sent. Last week we tried the Condor Long Cut, which I really enjoyed. And I still have about 1 bowl of it left, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to smoke it or if I'm going to put it in my 2024 blend. I think I'm going to smoke it because I'm afraid that because it's got that flavoring to it, it's just going to dominate the blend too much. Absolutely, Steph. You got to have that smoking room in the retirement house. That's very important. One of the things that my wife and I talk about, where we're going to retire to, I'm like, I'm not going to one of these, assisted living communities because they're not going to let me smoke a pipe. I'm just not going. So we did the Condor Long Cut. We decided we're going to do the Boston Cut Plug tonight. And next week we'll do the 3rd one, whose name I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. It's been too cold for Couch to have a pipe all week. Sorry about that, buddy. So this is Boston, B-O-S-U-N, Cut Plug. And let's get this opened up. See what we're dealing with. Trying not to tear the bag. I guess I could get another bag if I tear it, but y'all got nothing better to do than watch me try to open a bag, right? Oh, that's not going to open. Let's just try to tear the tape and see if that works. Aha! I found the weak spot. Oh, not not unlike the condor, a little bit stronger. And these are sort of raggedy flake cuts. Out the Again, I'm going to rub this out just because I want to make sure it behaves properly. And I do trust Phil, but I have to admit that in the back of my mind, I'm worried this is all part of a horrible joke that he's playing on me. All right, so one of the things that Phil told me is that this is a nice alternative to Condor, the Condor long cut, which is good because not only is it hard to get the Condor long cut here in the US, but apparently it's been discontinued. So, and I've heard mixed reports on that. Some folks say it's discontinued, some folks say it's not. I don't know, but and I'll tell you what pipe I'm loading this in just a second. I know you wouldn't, Phil, but I've still got it in the back of my mind. Oh, Dave, that's unfortunate. I feel for you, buddy. I gotta try to avoid it, but I gotta keep the missus happy too. So we'll see. Although I don't think she wants to go into one of those either. But you never know what life holds for you. All right, so we got that packed up in the Talbert Ligne Britannia billiard. This is gotta have my favorite rustication of any pipe. You can see that it's his Raven Wing rustication, but this one they did swirled. And the amazing thing is that is actually a hand carved rustication. That's not a wire wheel. And I wish you could feel this because the feeling on this is it's just so grippy and tactile. Tad more Lakeland and brighter, says Phil. Well, I had no trouble with the last one, so that is nice. That's the biggest problem there, Lord Hogarth, is the nosy residents with nothing to do. Gary, I'm sorry you're having trouble, buddy, but I don't know. Is anybody else having issues with the audio and video tonight? Oh, that's definitely got a stronger perfumey hit on the first light. Steph, do you want to see the Lugosi photo or do you want to see the painting? The photo I can do, the painting I put away. Hang on, guys, I'm going to move you so Steph can see them. There's Lugosi over there in the corner. Now I got to get this back to exactly the right spot or else Couch gets mad at me. There we go. Oh, no. It's tilted at an angle, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to have to invest in a new tripod back there because it's getting a little wonky. It is a thick Lakeland cloud indeed, Phil. I moved it back, Couch. I moved it back. Did you get it, Skip? I can snap a picture of it and put it up on Instagram if you need it. Oh, Skip needed to see it. Okay. Sure thing, Skip. Um, happy to oblige. Chris, I've never done a shop tour video because the shop is such a mess. And I've been organizing it for like all 8 years that I've been doing this. So we'll get to it someday. It's definitely not GQ magazine on my workbench. What in the world would make you think of that? There's nothing here that even looks like a magazine, to be honest. Well, there's a Grizzly catalog. Might have been that. Alfredo Bendiola. Draw on this one. You got. Oh my goodness, Josh, that's a horrible story. I wish I could find a way to put those pictures on the wall in a place where you could see them, Mark. I don't know. I gotta rethink how we're set up here. So this is definitely brighter, Phil. I see what you're saying there. And I can't tell if that's the Virginias or if it's the topping, the essence, as they say when they're talking about the Lakelands. This definitely has a more prominent um, floral, perfumey kind of note to it, but not overbearing. That's the truth, sailor. I mean, once you get to a certain age, what's the point? You live an extra 2 years, but you're miserable the whole time. Voodoo, how you doing, buddy? 99's a good long life there, Josh. Ponderance of a grave digger. How you been, my friend? Good to see you tonight. No, you're right, Phil. It's not Olympic vomit inducing. It's quite pleasant, actually. Yeah, you guys are up late tonight, aren't you? There's Steph and Skip. Well, I'm really glad to see you folks. But if you do fall asleep, we'll understand. Ah, Mark, Backcountry Pipes is asking about the baseball. That is Steve Carlton autograph baseball. Steve Carlton was when I was a kid. That he was the pitcher that I grew up watching for the Phillies. There's the occasional Clay Piper. Hello. Good to see you tonight. The tobacco is Bosun Cut Plug. Bosun Cut Plug. Michael Case was asking. And Yeah, definitely. I can see that how this could be an alternative to the condor. I think I'm going to need a couple of bowls to really know for certain if because right now I'm a little bit hit over the head by the lakeland. It's not bad. It's not anything like what we had a few weeks ago that almost killed me, but it's there. Oh, it's pronounced bosun. Okay, Phil. Thank you. The man indeed, there, armchair piper. Yes, old lefty. Cole, if I start sprinkling Haunted Bookshop with rose water, they're gonna come take me away. Bosun, not Boston. Poem. You knew that. So, Brian, the Condor apparently had a proprietary liquor topping. Might have been some rum in there. I don't know. This is definitely not reminiscent of liquor to me. This is more floral. Ah, so this improves with time, Phil? Yeah, I would guess this has got a pretty heavy Virginia component. It may be straight Virginia. I didn't look this up, so yeah, I'm not getting to the extent that I can taste the tobacco, I'm not getting anything that's not Virginia out of this. This isn't this would be a nice change of pace now and then. I don't think it would be an everyday for me, but Patrick says the light lavender topping. Brian Dawkins, I bosun sounds familiar to me in a naval context, but I don't think I know what it means. Ah, the whistle. Yes. Doug, are you asking again about the baseball? It's a Steve Carlton autographed baseball. I'm pretty certain it's a game ball because it's not it doesn't have the Hall of Fame year on it. Usually after they get in the Hall of Fame, they initial it HOF in the year. Um, and I think Carlton went in pretty quickly after he stopped playing. Of course, it may not have been a Phillies game ball because he played for other teams after the Phillies. Oh, I still have the boat sounds. I just don't remember which key does it. Steph's asking, you guys won't mind a foghorn, will you? Nope, that's not it. I don't even know what that is. Did any sound just play? Well, there we go. You happy, Steph? Skip's been chooching on Country Squire lamb and jam. That sounds interesting, Skip. Well, Mark, it's always good to meet a fellow baseball lover, even if they are a Red Sox fan. Could be worse, Mark. You could be a Cubs fan. First sound was from the Mario Brothers game? I have no idea why I have that. I know it hurts, Mark, and I'm sorry, Josh. My brother's a Red Sox fan, so, I got to admit to that. I tease him all the time. Yeah, he was born and raised in Philadelphia, just like me, but moved up to Vermont. Gosh, I guess it's 20 some years ago now, with my mom and dad when they moved up, and he just became a Red Sox fan, and I don't even want to talk about the football team. That'd be pretty much the perfect way to smoke it, Couch. Yeah, the Brits do get some ribbing for their cuisine, don't they? I've had the opportunity to visit England quite a bit and spent a fair amount of time in London and ate at nice restaurants in London and had some good meals. I also spent some time in more rural areas and went to local pubs and ate there and had the beer. And I got to tell you, the beer was fantastic. Sorry, furnace again. I really love the British style, the English style beers. Uh, Served at the temperature they serve it because it's perfect to bring out all the flavors and everything. That was just fantastic. The food, on the other hand, I mean, it was passable in the good restaurants, but good God, the fish and chips. And in one pub, I had fish and chips with peas, and I just couldn't believe they charged me for it. And I said, she was watching one I had never seen before, and the main character got fish and chips and was eating it. And she said, I want to go to England to just try the fish and chips. And I looked at her and I said, why? And then I agreed I would take her and I would let her do it. And then I would stand there and say, I told you so. Nothing wrong with some bangers and mash, Lord Hogarth. You're right. There used to be an Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips when I was growing up, near where my grandparents took me in the summertime. And we used to eat there a couple times during the summer. And they had a chicken sandwich that had some sort of an orange sauce on it. It wasn't orange flavored, but it was like a pinkish orangey color. Oh man, that was good stuff. And I've never tasted anything quite like it. I have no idea what it was. Do I like Bass Ale? I don't honestly know. Name that pipe. I've probably had it, and I would probably say I didn't dislike it, but I don't know that I could say I like it more than any other hell. Yes, Doug, that's a good point. I had some excellent Indian food. One of the best Indian restaurants I ever ate at was near Cambridge University in England. And oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, blood sausage is an interesting thing, Sailor. Stay off the moors. There you go, mushroom leg. So you got to go for the villages to get the quality. That's a good analogy, Michael Case. Yeah, the way we've adopted Mexican food, I could see that. Newcastle Brown Ale is pretty good stuff, Patrick. Yeah. There was a fly tire that I knew casually. I can't say we were friends, but we had exchanged words a few times. We would say hello. I would see him at the fly tying shows. He was from the Catskill region. He was very well known in that region, and he loved the Newcastle Brown Ale. And it was funny because he would actually keep a six pack of it below the table where when he was tying flies at the show. And we weren't supposed to do that, but he was a happy guy. Oh, couch, that's a lot. Uh, Another beer recommendation from my buddy Phil. Phil, you're taking me down a bad road. If I keep listening to Phil, I'm going to be smoking Lakelands and drinking high alcohol content beers all the time. If I don't listen to Phil, I'll just not be smoking Lakelands, but everything else will probably be the same. I will keep an eye out for Brother Thelonious Belgian style Abbey Ale. That sounds interesting. The other place I spent a lot of time was in Belgium. I think I mentioned this before. We had a collaboration with some Belgian folks. Yeah, I told the French fry story a week or two ago. And boy, they make some nice beers there. Well, Couch, I guess that's a pairing of sorts. The Urban Hermit, how you doing, Everett? Good to see you, buddy. Is that true, Doug? Bram Stoker wrote Dracula and Whitby. That's surprising to me. I'd appreciate that, Phil, because I'll forget it. Pipe show in Albany, New York. Is that coming soon, Patrick, or is that late in the year, like August, September-ish? There are some good beers in Vermont, Josh. I've always been impressed with some of the local. The Long Trail stuff is good. Oh, I hope you had a good visit there, Everett. And I hope your dad's doing well. Everett's dad came home from rehab and he says he's doing well. So I was glad to hear that, buddy. Conehead made by Zero Gravity Brewing. I'll keep that in mind, Josh. Thank you, Phil. Okay, Patrick, got you. That sounds like the perfect setting for writing a novel like Dracula, Doug. Shandygaff all day. Wow, Everett, I don't normally think of that as a cold day smoke, but definitely got some burley in it. Duca Carlo Billiard sounds nice. Take your time, Poem. We'll be here. Mushroom Leg, what is wrong with you? Those Christopher Lee Draculas are some of the best, other than the original Lugosi Dracula. They're some of the best Dracula films made. I'm really looking forward to Godzilla -1. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it, Steph and Skip. Speaking of Dracula, I have completed watching, so I never saw these. I never thought I would see these, but for some reason I decided to watch all three Blade movies. So I've completed the full Blade trilogy, and I gotta say I enjoyed them. I mean, they were not your traditional Dracula vampire movie, but they were fun. They played with the concept enough to make it interesting, but not crazy. Lots of action, well filmed. None of these crazy dark CGI fight things where you can't see what's going on. I mean, I thought they were well-made movies. So if you're into vampire slayer type movies, I recommend the Blade trilogy. Glad to hear it, Everett. Really glad to hear your dad's doing well. Oh, Mushroom Leg, don't put me on the spot like that. I can never remember the names of them, but I really like the one where the Dracula is after a girl that's in a girls' school, and I think she actually is falling in love with him. He's like courting her, and she's going to marry him. And Christopher Lee comes into town because there's been these deaths, and he's playing the Van Helsing character, and it's just a great movie. But I cannot remember the name of that one. Yeah, Phil, I get it. I mean, the true Godzillas are the guy in the suit, but I've heard really good things about this new one. And the amazing thing about it is they made it for like no money. I mean, the budget was like 15 million, and it's apparently good. It's got a plot. It's not ridiculously woke. It sets out to accomplish what it accomplished, and it apparently looks really good. And you compare that with the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent on some of this other nonsense that Hollywood's been putting out and has flopped. I mean, it's really it's saying something. Almost time to pay your tax. Yes, Cole, it is. I have seen the Fu Manchu movies, name that pipe, but it's been years. Ron Hardcrackers, Kendall Gold, and a Tinsky 2005 pipe magazine. Pipes and Tobacco Magazine Pipe of the Year. Very nice. Oh, wow, Everett. 93 times an hour. My goodness. You're not breathing more than you're breathing, buddy. Phil, I don't even know what that is. I stopped paying attention to Star Wars so long ago. I know there was a whole baby thing, but I don't care. Well, there you go, Everett. That's something, right? So we're happy about Everett's dad, and we'll continue to keep him in our prayers and send positive thoughts and all that stuff. There's someone else I want you to keep in mind in the coming week, if you wouldn't mind. My buddy Jimmy. Jimmy's a YouTube guy. He's been on the live streams a few times. He's contacted me. I've done some restoration work for him. Kind of become a friend over the years, and he's been dealing with some really bad chronic migraine issues. He's going in on Friday to have some sinus surgery done that they're hoping is going to clear up some of this, because it's apparently become unbearable for him. The medications aren't working. He's just in really bad shape. So I'm really hopeful that this procedure will give him some relief. So try to, if you can, if you got a minute, to offer up a prayer or just some good thoughts for Jimmy, I would appreciate it, and I know he would too. Unfortunately, the darn thing is triggered by smoking, so Jimmy had to give up the pipe because of this, and it's unfortunate, but you know, he's got to put his health first, obviously. So yeah, keep Jimmy in mind in the coming week. He's getting the surgery a week from today. Oh, Doug, you're kidding. I know I've seen that, The Mask of Fu Manchu. I knew it was Karloff, but I did not know it was Myrna Loy. You know, I got a Myrna Loy thing. I'm going to rewatch that as soon as possible. Ornella Muti. I worked with someone named Ornella once, who was this little, well, I'd rather not think of her. Thank you, all the folks that are sending prayers out. Much appreciated. I'll mention it, Josh, but honestly, I think he's tried just about everything. Well, I don't know how old Myrna was in the Thin Man movies, but that's when I first noticed her. But even she was in what was the ant movie that she was in, Doug? I know you're going to know this. Was it Them? It was one of the killer ant movies. She was something even in that. And she must have been in her 70s in that movie. Yeah, Phil, I've heard that distinction between migraine and cluster headache too, and it's a load of, well, you know what it is. Oh my, Doug, that sounds like a treat. I'm gonna have to look for the Mask of Fu Manchu as soon as possible. Larry Higgins family, another broken What broke, Steph? I'm not sure I understand that. But definitely we'll pray for Larry. I know he's been having some tough problems. Fortunately, I've never had an actual migraine headache, but I've had retinal migraines, which are weird. Furnace is coming on. It's like my visual field just kind of becomes fractured and very sparkly around the edges. It's the only way I can think to explain it. Larry Higgins passed away. I hear that. Other folks are confirming it. I'm so sorry to hear that. Larry was a really nice guy. Oh, that's a real downer. Well, I'll have to pray for his family for sure. Yeah, those ocular migraines they are scary when you first get them, and then you learn to recognize them. Is that the same as what folks are calling the migraine aura? Because I've never had the migraine, so I don't know. Yeah, Phil, that's pretty much it. And what's most disturbing isn't the stuff going around the periphery. It's that grayness in the central. Like everything, it's not that it's hazy. It's grayed out. It's like your eye's not working anymore. It's scary. Yeah, let's all say yeah, buddy, in Larry's honor. I can't do it right, but gosh, that is really sad. But you know, Larry really seemed like a happy guy. He seemed like he lived a good life and lived it on his terms. And you know, hopefully, he felt fulfilled when the end came. And I know that he's in a much better place right now. It was just called Ants. Okay, Doug. And it was called Ants. I don't remember. I remember the movie. And yeah, it was quite surprising when I realized it was her, but it's clearly her. And even at that advanced age, she was still a rather beautiful woman. Doug, I can't say I can recommend the movie other than it's got Myrna Loy in it. It wasn't like a top rated horror film. It did have giant ants in it. Larry was a believer indeed. No, Phil, that's Larry Blackett. We're talking about Larry Higgins, who was a YouTube guy. I don't think he's made many videos recently, but 3 or 4 years ago he was pretty active. Okay, we're not talking about Larry Blackett, not buttons for your britches, not the tamper guy. This is Larry Higgins. And I've got one of Larry's tampers right here, the brass monkey. Gary, right now the audio is distorted because the furnace is running. I'm sorry if that bothers you, but other than that, I don't know why it would be distorted. That is hilarious. Whitney Blake was something else there, Dave. Yeah, it is perfect weather for the brass monkey, Michael. It is. The picnic is ruined. That is great, Doug. Yes, Voodoo. Larry entered into an agreement with Smoking Pipes. I'm not exactly sure how it works. It might be the tampers that he's selling there you can't buy through him. I'm not sure. Bill, I hope you have a lot more than that left, but I promise you I'm not going to tell you that when the time comes. Oh, Steph, those are two good choices for a musical send off for sure. Yeah, I was thinking the same, Phil. I can't. Oh, Josh, that's a good one. I joke with my wife that when the time comes, we've got it's our waste management folks, the people that haul away the trash and the recyclables. I have no idea what the name of the company is. It begins with an M and it's an Italian name, but I have this bad habit of making up names for things and people and just using them and not bothering to ever find out what the real name is. So I call them Marsconi Brothers, but that's not the name of the company. So whenever this sort of thing comes up, I tell my wife, "Oh, you're just going to put me in a bag and leave me on the curb for Marsconi Brothers to pick me up." And for about 5 years, her response was horrified, like I would never. And in more recent years, she's been saying things like, "Yeah, I'll have to get in some more bags." So, Mario Brothers. No, it's definitely longer than Mario. It's like Marinucci or Marconi or something like that, but I just call him Marsconi. Anyone going to the Chicago show in April? Asked Voodoo. Well, April's coming up fast, isn't it? My goodness. I have finished my Bosun cut plug, and I can say that based on that first bowl, I don't like it as much as the Condor, but it was not bad. I want to get a couple more bowls under my belt before I pass judgment, but good stuff. Thank you, Phil. A sandwich bag. I don't know, Michael. I think I need a little bit bigger than that. You're going to Muletown, Steph and Skip? Gosh, I don't know. I'd like to go. I'm definitely going to go to Columbus. Yeah, the composting thing is kind of weird, Josh. Scott's going to be at Muletown too. I don't think I'm going to be able to do Muletown alone. That's going to turn into a vacation, and we're going to have to do other stuff in the area. Folly Beach, South Carolina. That's a long trip for you, Josh. I've heard of the green burial thing. I think that might be what Josh is referring to as well, where you're not preserved. You're just kind of plugged in the ground. I forget who the author was that I heard interviewed once, and he said that he wanted to. What was the guy who used to, back when NPR was worth listening to? Bob Edwards used to interview people, and he had some really wonderful interviews with authors. And he was interviewing this one author who said that his ideal way to go out would be to just go off into the woods and sit under a tree and just let nature take its course. And he said, eventually that's what should happen. You should return to nature and let the animals and insects and worms and whatnot have their way with you. And yeah, I can see some merit in that. I mean, what do I care? I'm not there anymore. What are dystopian burials, Phil? That sounds like something that happens in Beyond Thunderdome. Ah, there you go, Scott. Yep. Take him out to the mountains and leave him. Yeah, Chris, that is sad, and that's just one step away from Soylent Green. Michael, I'd be okay with that monk tradition. Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it, Steph? Pome's gonna let the Brits make sausage. Oh, that's a good one, Pome. Since I still have this much high alcohol content beer to go, I'm gonna load up another round of Haunted Bookshop in the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, and let's try to bring this back from a less dark turn, as Voodoo has pointed out. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we did it, but here we are. Never know what we're going to talk about here. My wife asks me every night before I head down here, what are you going to talk about tonight? I don't know. Probably you, dear. Oh, I got to tell my blonde joke. You want to hear my blonde joke, or you want me to save it for next week? All right. And if there's any blonde women in the audience, which I don't think there are, but if there are, I want you to know that this joke truly represents what I think of you. Um, so let me try to get this right. Keep in mind, I'm 3/4 of the way through a 10.5% ABV beer here. So a blind cowboy stumbles into a biker bar. He goes up to the bar, gets onto a stool, says, "Bartender, give me a whiskey." And here's the shot glass go down in front of him, picks it up, downs it, says, "Give me another. By the way, do you want to hear a blonde joke, bartender?" And it's just silence throughout the bar. There's a woman sitting next to him. She taps him on the shoulder and she says, "Listen, old timer, before you tell that joke, I think there's a couple things you need to know. 5. The woman sitting next to you is a 5'8" blonde woman who's a master of karate and has her black belt. The bouncer in this bar is a 280-pound blonde woman who's been known to pick up men twice your size and throw them out into the street. The woman sitting behind you is a blonde woman who is 5'7" tall and kickbox as a hobby. Now, I just want you to know about those 5 people surrounding you. So are you sure you want to tell that joke? The old timer thinks for a minute and goes, "Nah, I wouldn't want to have to explain it 5 times. Ba-dum-bum. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Oh, did you send that to me, Phil? I'm sure I saw it on Instagram. I didn't know you sent it to me, but if you did, thank you. I might have sent it to you. I don't remember. Steph, if you feel like typing up a joke, I'd gladly read it. Instagram's become really weird for me because it used to be I'd just open it up and I'd see pipe pictures, but now, um, absolutely, Steph, go ahead and plug, and I'll read it out when you do. Um, Now it's like mostly dog things, like and they're hilarious. There's a lot of golden retrievers doing really funny stuff and jokes like that and stuff. And I don't know what changed and why it's become so eclectic. Um, and I can you can select just to see the stuff from the folks you follow, which is nice, and I do that sometimes. But sometimes it's fun just to scroll through because some of the stuff makes me laugh. That's a good question, Michael. We forgot to have stupid joke night last year. Um, we usually do it towards the end of the year, but maybe we should do one early this year. Okay, so Steph and Skip Kane are at 10 a.m. tomorrow. That's Central Standard Time. So that would be 11 a.m. here on the East Coast, and you do the math if you're somewhere else. Um, and I will try to catch you tomorrow if I'm done moving the snow by then. The good one, Bohm. I can't tell where the blonde secretary sits by the whiteout on the screen. Yep. Well, you guys have to try this setting that filters that stuff out. You still get ads, but not as many. And you don't get the suggested reels at all. Um, I can't remember where it's at. There's the furnace. It's either in the upper right or upper left corner. Okay, so you got to tune in to Steph and Skip's live stream tomorrow to get their joke because it's too long to type. I'm definitely going to have to make it now. Brian Dawkins, good night, my friend. Thanks for joining us. You have a great weekend. I'm on the Android, Phil. I don't touch the Apple products. The furnace is busy this time of year, Skip. Michael, I got to tell you, I am so happy I went with the YouTube Prime. I'm not recommending it. I'm not saying you should have to do it, but I watch a lot of YouTube stuff, not just like videos like we watch, but like movies on YouTube and things like that. And it's just so nice to see them without commercials now. And my wife also watches a lot of it, and you can get it as a family thing. So, I can add her to the account and she gets the same benefits. So, on the one hand, I hated doing it because I know I was doing exactly what they were trying to program me to do by making the ads so excessive. But I'm really happy I did it. The apple is poisonous, Big Dave. Yes, it is. Oh, Lurker Troy, I never thought of that. I like playing with them. The women that contact, I get these women that just say hello, and I go and look at their. Good night, Armchair Piper. Have a great weekend, buddy. I go and look at their thing, and it's either private or it's just pictures of them in like bikinis and stuff. And I'm thinking, why the heck is this person trying to get in contact with me? Well, I know why. I mean, they're trying to get money out of me. So I play with them. I have conversations with them, and I'll drag it out for as long as possible because I figure I'm preventing them from scamming somebody that's more gullible. It's a lot of fun. Steph, I got a channel for you. I do not know the name of it, but Lisa has to send it to you. She's been watching some homesteaders that are really pretty cool. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, John Amadon, thanks for joining us, buddy. Have a great weekend. 51 watching, 19 likes. That's not good, Gary. Thank you for pointing it out. Please do hit that like button. It helps us get the word out, helps grow the YouTube pipe community, which is really all we care about. I'll get her to send it to you, Steph. That's a good one, Phil. Week, that kind of thing. And I'll say, well, I don't have $500. And I'll say, well, do you have $250? And I'll give you the other 250. So, well, if you have $250, why don't you give it to them? And then in a week, you'll have the $500. They don't like that. That's usually when they stop. Yeah, California calibrations. I calibrate. Yeah, calibration. I agree. I mean, I don't mind investing in them if they're gonna pay me nice dividends, but I don't want their products. There you go, Michael. Good old Paul. He was a complex man. Wait a minute, Michael. Wasn't that Augustine? I could be wrong, but I thought it was Augustine that prayed that. Yeah, Chris Webber says Augustine as well. I'm pretty sure. St. Augustine was a bit of a wild child in his youth. And the church and school that I attended from first through fifth grade was St. Monica's. Monica was the mother of Augustine. There's a reason I'm telling this story. It's funny, I promise. So in the back of the church, there was this fresco, not fresco, bas relief, a carving in the stone uh, of the conversion of Saint Augustine. So you have Saint Monica praying, and it's a river, and the Bishop of Hippo, I can't remember his name, is there baptizing Augustine. And what the picture is Augustine is kneeling in the water, and the bishop is pouring, like from a vessel of some sort, but like a shallow bowl, is pouring water over Augustine's head, baptizing. But this is a stone carving, so there's no color or anything, there's no reference, it's just gray stone. And seeing this as a child, Ambrose, thank you, Chris. Ambrose was the bishop. Seeing this as a child, it looked to me like Augustine had long hair and Ambrose was trying to pull him out of the water by his hair. And all I knew was that it was the conversion of St. Augustine, so I assumed that Augustine was a very naughty child who had to be yanked by the hair in order to convert. Turned out it wasn't that far from the truth, but I always laugh a little bit when I think about St. Augustine and that particular image. Yeah, but Paul did have some issues, Michael. So I understand why you would have thought it was Paul. Paul was I shouldn't say he had issues, but he talked about afflictions of the flesh. I can't remember the exact wording, and I'm too far into this beer to think about it. Yes, Cole. The next day I started shaving my head. That's right. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. Thorn for the flesh. Thank you, Michael. Yes. We're going a bit late here, folks, but I'm getting pretty close to finishing the beer. I'm sorry if I drank that whole thing in 90 minutes, I'd get in trouble. So 37 degrees. I would love 37 degrees right now, but I get it. Southeast Texas, that's cold. Anytime, Steph. It's been wonderful having you. Yeah, Gary, I like this stuff. Not just because of the 10.5% alcohol content, but it's tasty. It is really tasty. So, but it's not like, you know, if you're gonna have a beer every night with dinner, you're not gonna want this. It's too heavy for that. Your middle daughter said you look like a gnome, Everett. Oh my. I'm sure she said it with love though. Everett, you should tell her it's just the polar bear in you. No worries, Gary. It's been really great having you, my friend. Always good to see you. Ghost Cobb, how you doing, Sean? We're just about to wrap up, but it's great to see you. A gnome with a well-trained mustachio indeed, Phil. Yes. Finland. My goodness, Steph. Chip off the old shoulder. There you go, Troy. There you go. No worries, Ghost Cobb. It's great to see you, buddy. It's a beautiful country for a few months out of the year, Steph. That's a good question. I haven't seen Boris in quite a while, Cole. 1 whole degree with a -20 wind chill. My goodness, Chris. That is cold. Amen, Phil. Love you right back, brother. And we are going to be wrapping this up because I'm finally done. So I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Been a been fun as always. Great Friday evening chat. Uh, Voodoo's dreaming about the Packers tomorrow. I hope it goes well for you, buddy. Oh, okay, good. Steph and Skip say that Boris has been through some medical stuff, but he's doing well. Give him our best if you chat with him there, guys. All right. Anyway, we're gonna sign off for the night. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back Sunday with something or the other, and we will be back next Friday with another live stream. So I hope you join me then. Until then, take care. Have a great weekend and a fantastic week ahead, and we will talk all again very soon. Take care, all.